The anonymous CEO entered his store as a struggling customer, to see who would actually help him. The old man standing outside the store looked exhausted, hungry, and completely defeated. His clothes were wrinkled. His shoes were worn out. His hands trembled slightly as he held a small paper bag containing everything he owned at that moment. People walked past him without even making eye contact. Some looked at him with pity. Others looked away as if he didn't exist. What nobody knew was that this struggling customer was actually the anonymous owner of the entire company. And before this day ended, several lives would change forever. If you believe kindness matters more than appearances, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who believes in second chances, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us bring more heart-touching stories like this one. Jonathan Reed had spent 20 years building one of the most successful retail chains in the country. He had started with a tiny store and a dream. Through years of sacrifice, sleepless nights, and endless determination, he turned that dream into hundreds of stores serving millions of customers. But success had created a problem he could no longer ignore. The company reports were excellent. Sales were rising. Investors were happy. Managers constantly sent glowing updates. According to every report, employees were treating customers perfectly. Yet Jonathan had a feeling something was wrong. A few months earlier, he had overheard a conversation between two customers who didn't know who he was. They complained that many employees only treated wealthy-looking customers with respect. They said kindness had become selective. Service depended on appearance. The word stayed in his mind. He remembered why he started the company in the first place. As a teenager, Jonathan had grown up poor. His father worked multiple jobs. His mother cleaned houses. Some days there was barely enough food on the table. He remembered entering stores where employees ignored him because his clothes looked old. He remembered how painful it felt to be invisible. And he promised himself that if he ever became successful, he would build a business where every customer was treated with dignity. Now he wondered if that promise had been forgotten. So he created a plan. Without informing anyone, he disguised himself as an elderly man struggling financially. No security team. No executives. No special treatment. Just one simple test. He would enter one of his busiest stores and see who would help him. Early that morning, Jonathan parked several blocks away. He changed into old clothing purchased from a thrift shop. He wore thick glasses and slightly altered his appearance. Even employees who had seen his corporate photos would never recognize him. As he approached the store, he felt strangely nervous. The large building stood proudly under the morning sun. The company logo reflected years of hard work and sacrifice. Yet today, he wasn't entering as the CEO. Today, he was entering as someone society often ignored. The automatic doors opened. Inside, dozens of customers moved between aisles. Employees organized shelves, assisted shoppers, and operated checkout counters. Jonathan slowly walked through the entrance. Within seconds, he noticed something disappointing. One employee looked directly at him, frowned, and immediately turned away. Another employee greeted a well-dressed customer with enthusiasm but ignored Jonathan completely. A third worker glanced at his worn clothing and seemed annoyed before returning to her phone. Jonathan felt a familiar ache in his chest. It was the same feeling he experienced decades ago as a poor teenager. Invisible. Unimportant. Unwelcome. For nearly 20 minutes, he wandered through different sections of the store. Several employees noticed him. None offered assistance. One worker even followed him from a distance as if expecting him to steal something. Jonathan pretended not to notice. But internally, his heart sank. Had the culture he worked so hard to create disappeared? Eventually, he stopped near the home goods section. His back genuinely hurt from standing so long. He looked around for assistance. Nothing. Employees walked past him repeatedly. Then something unexpected happened. A young woman stocking shelves noticed him struggling. Her name tag read Emily. She couldn't have been older than 24. Unlike everyone else, she didn't glance at his appearance and move on. She stopped what she was doing. She smiled warmly. And she walked toward him. The gesture itself seemed small. But to Jonathan, it felt enormous. Emily asked if he needed help finding anything. Her voice carried genuine concern. Not forced politeness. Not professional obligation. Real kindness. Jonathan explained that he was searching for an affordable electric kettle because his old one had broken. Emily listened carefully. Instead of directing him to an aisle and leaving, she personally walked with him across the store. Along the way, she noticed him moving slowly. Without making him feel embarrassed, she adjusted her pace. When they reached the shelf, Jonathan deliberately pointed toward a model he couldn't supposedly afford. Emily gently explained the different options available and helped him find one within his stated budget. She treated him exactly the same way she would have treated any customer. Perhaps even better. As they spoke, Jonathan learned that Emily had been working at the store for less than a year. She was supporting her younger brother while attending night classes. Life wasn't easy for her. Yet despite her struggles, kindness remained part of who she was. Jonathan thanked her and continued his test. Throughout the day, he observed more employees. Some ignored him. Some treated him coldly. Some acted suspicious. But Emily stood out. Several times, he noticed her helping elderly customers carry items. He watched her comfort a stressed mother whose child was crying. He saw her patiently assist a customer with limited English. Each interaction revealed the same thing. She genuinely cared. Hours passed. Then Jonathan witnessed something that broke his heart. Near closing time, an elderly customer entered the store looking confused. The man appeared lost and overwhelmed. A few employees noticed him but remained focused on their own tasks. Emily immediately approached him. She spent nearly 30 minutes helping him locate items on his shopping list. When the customer accidentally dropped several products, she knelt down and helped gather everything without showing the slightest frustration. The grateful man left smiling. Emily never knew Jonathan was watching. She wasn't performing for recognition. She wasn't expecting praise. She simply believed helping people mattered. That night, Jonathan sat alone in his car. The test had revealed painful truths. Many employees had forgotten the company's values. Yet it had also revealed hope. People like Emily still existed. The next morning, Jonathan called an emergency leadership meeting. Executives from across the company attended. Store managers joined through video conference. Nobody understood why the CEO suddenly seemed so serious. Then Jonathan shared everything. He described entering the store disguised as a struggling customer. The room fell silent. Some managers looked shocked. Others looked uncomfortable. Jonathan explained exactly how employees had treated him. The examples were painful. Ignoring customers. Judging appearances. Offering better service to wealthy-looking shoppers. For several minutes, nobody spoke. Then Jonathan showed security footage from the previous day. Everyone watched employee behavior unfold on screen. The evidence was impossible to deny. But then Jonathan showed footage of Emily. The atmosphere changed. Executives watched her patiently help customer after customer. They saw her kindness. Her compassion. Her professionalism. Most importantly, they saw the company's original values reflected through her actions. Jonathan's voice grew emotional. He explained that businesses succeed because of people. Not buildings. Not profits. Not advertisements. People. And when people forget to care about one another, success loses its meaning. Over the following weeks, significant changes occurred throughout the company. New training programs emphasized empathy and respect. Managers received stricter expectations regarding customer service. Recognition systems were redesigned to reward kindness instead of only sales numbers. But Jonathan had one more surprise planned. A month later, employees gathered for a company-wide event. No one knew why the CEO had requested attendance. Emily sat near the back. She felt nervous. She had never met the CEO personally. As the presentation began, Jonathan walked onto the stage. The audience applauded. Then he started telling a story. A story about an elderly customer. A story about employees who ignored him. A story about one young woman who chose kindness. Slowly, realization spread across the room. Emily's eyes widened. The struggling customer she had helped was standing on stage. The audience turned toward her. She looked stunned. Tears filled her eyes. Jonathan invited Emily to join him. The entire room rose to its feet. The standing ovation lasted several minutes. Many employees cried. Jonathan explained that Emily represented everything the company should stand for. She reminded everyone that true character appears when nobody important is watching. Because often, the person who seems unimportant is carrying a burden nobody can see. And sometimes a simple act of kindness changes someone's entire day. Then came the biggest surprise. Jonathan announced that Emily would receive a full scholarship to complete her education. He also offered her a leadership development position within the company. The audience erupted with applause. Emily could barely speak through her tears. For years, she had worried about paying tuition, supporting her brother, and building a future. Now opportunities she never imagined were opening before her. But the story didn't end there. Over the next few years, Emily thrived. She completed her education with honors. She advanced through leadership roles. Employees respected her because she never forgot where she started. Whenever new team members joined the company, Emily shared lessons about empathy and respect. She reminded them that every customer carries an invisible story. A wealthy person may be lonely. A struggling person may be fighting impossible battles. A smiling person may be hiding deep pain. And everyone deserves dignity. Meanwhile, the company culture gradually transformed. Customer satisfaction improved. Employee morale increased. Communities began praising the company again. Not because products changed. Because people changed. Years later, Jonathan prepared for retirement. As he reflected on his journey, he realized one unexpected truth. The most important decision he ever made wasn't opening his first store. It wasn't expanding nationwide. It wasn't making millions. It was walking into his own store disguised as someone nobody respected. Because that day reminded him what truly matters. Kindness. Compassion. Humanity. The things money can never buy. On his final day as CEO, Jonathan stood quietly inside that same store. Customers moved through the aisles. Employees greeted them warmly. The atmosphere felt different now. Better. Stronger. More human. He noticed a young employee helping an elderly shopper carry groceries. The scene reminded him of Emily. And he smiled. The promise he made as a poor teenager had finally been fulfilled. No customer was invisible. No person was unworthy of respect. And the company he built would continue carrying those values long after he was gone. Before this story ends, leave a comment below and tell us, what is the kindest thing a stranger has ever done for you? Because sometimes one small act of kindness creates a ripple effect that changes countless lives. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps spread these powerful messages of compassion and hope to people around the world who may need them today. And one more thing before you go, tell us which country you're watching from. We love seeing how these stories connect kind-hearted people across the globe. Remember, people may forget what you said. They may forget what you gave them. But they will never forget how you made them feel. And sometimes, the greatest test of character is how we treat someone who appears to have nothing to offer us in return. The world changes when ordinary people choose kindness. One person. One moment. One heart at a time.